Bring in Kelly Bethay, Matt Manning, and Michael Imhotep. Michael, you have a question. I want you to offer your question to our guest here.
All right. Well, thanks, Ray. Look, I want to thank everybody for coming on. Xavier, Cheyenne, and Christina. I saw the interview you did yesterday. And the question I have, I remember, Christina, you saying that an investigation was done. The Mount Pleasant school did an investigation, and they said that they found that the allegations were not true or something to that effect. And what I'm trying to find out, Xavier filmed himself inside the room. Okay, and we saw that video. So are they saying that he made all this stuff up?
This is all part of an endless cycle. Once kids touch the juvenile justice system, they're 67% more likely to end up in jail again before they're 25. So, what lessons are schools and police really teaching our kids here? How can kids excel in school if they're always being kicked out of them?
It was an enormous burden on the black community, but it also violated a sense of core fairness.
States were required to keep these prisons filled, even if nobody was committing a crime.
It's so difficult to talk about mass incarceration because it has become heavily monetized.
The focus is on taking people from prison, putting them in community corrections, parole and probation.
How much progress is it really if now there's a private company making money off the GPS monitor?
We now have more African Americans under criminal supervision than all the slaves back in the 1850s.
We are the products of the history that our ancestors chose. Products of that set of choices that we have to understand in order to escape from it. We should go looking somewhere high.
I'm only human. Or like, what exactly are they saying was not founded? And did somebody say that he had a gun on him? Apparently he did not, but did somebody make an allegation also that he had a gun on him?
Obviously, he wasn't too much of a threat if he was able to get his phone into the room, right?
Right.
And so, what you're asking is what we're also considering. How are we able to view evidence when they keep denying our Freedom of Information Act rights? How are we able to see the evidence that proves that the allegations were even made in the first place and that there was an investigation on that? We're asking the same people who hold and pride themselves to now turn and challenge themselves to tell the truth. We're asking the same people who are perpetuating this harm and the discrimination on our students to now hold themselves accountable. I just don't see that happening. The investigation, if they did conduct one, would be biased and botched again, like it was in the Hoffmeyer situation, because they haven't reached out to the family or the medical expertise of the team that he has in his life because of his disabilities.
Cheyenne, I want to close with you.
So, considering that this was done on school grounds and teachers, by and large, are considered agents of the state when they do warrantless searches, how is this not unconstitutional on the federal level as well as the state level, considering that not only was he searched, he was strip searched, and it was a warrantless search, and the bar to meet the standard of the strict scrutiny necessary to meet the standard of searching a child in this fashion just simply wasn't met by the way the counts have been said here. How are you guys navigating that?
Christina, would you be kind enough to take that for us, please?
Yes, of course, we're going to be pursuing legal action at the same time recognizing that they violated MCL 380.1307, right? The Michigan compiled laws with regards to seclusion and a whole bunch of idea and faith rules and rights. You know, basically what they did to him was unlawful, inhumane, unconstitutional, but we just have to pursue in the courts, because when we're calling to say we want to file a police report, we want to file a report on this agency or this school or this teacher, this particular part of Michigan and the Department of Michigan has not been willing to hold them accountable for their actions and their violations. And the only thing recourse that we do have is to, of course, secure safety and security of the child and their education, but seek remedy in the courts. And that's what we will do.
Matt, before we get out of here, I want to offer you a space to ask a question.
Sure. My question, and first let me commend you, Cheyenne and Xavier, for being here, standing up for yourselves, because I get so many calls about cases like this where people unfortunately don't take such action. Has the school told you how often they use this room to seclude students that are suspected of such action? Because it stands to reason that they're employing one policy with Black and Indigenous and Brown students that they're not using with other students. Have they given
requests that we asked for incident reports. We asked for days. We've been asking for information that they have just refused to turn over.
Christine Lassiter, thank you so much for your time. Cheyenne, Xavier, we're so sorry that this is the way that we have to engage you and that we come across meeting you, but we are grateful that we can be the vehicle that you all are using to get this story out into the public. Christina, how can folks amplify this story? How can they ensure that there's enough pressure on the specific school?
Email the U.S. Department of Education or contact the U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights, the Michigan Department of Education Office for Civil Rights, and ask the legislators in Michigan to hold accountability behind what's happening in Mount Pleasant. Like I said, this is not an isolated incident. The superintendent, Jennifer Bergler, definitely is careless and callous with regards to these actions. He needs to be fired, and they need to bring someone in that is willing to set the district in a right trajectory and the right path for all students to.
Superintendent, let's put her up. All right, her name, Jennifer Bergler. Buck stops with her. She has been the person at the center of multiple racial discrimination, high-profile cases in that school district. As I said, we've covered another one previously right here. Atlanta Black Star contacted the Mount Pleasant Public School superintendent on the allegations listed in the lawsuit, which claims the district violated one of its former students' civil rights and constitutional rights and violated his IEP. But after several phone calls and messages, Atlanta Black Star's request for comment or interview were not returned. Wow, what a surprise. She did not return message, emails, phone calls from Black press. All right, Sharon, thoughts here.
It would have taken her about 10 seconds to return an email. All she had to say was, my job is to break Black children. That's what my job is. I'm here to do that bidding. That's all she had to say, because that's the truth.
Career moving forward, if we were in the world where the school district did abide by the laws and
my child receive an education, like the education that is offered to every other child in America, or I'm sorry, every white child in America, because my child is being robbed of his education. I just want him to be able to go to school and not be called names. I don't want to get a horrifying text message of a video of him sitting in a room. And I don't want him to come home from school crying because kids have been mean to him all day. And now it's to the point where he hates the way he looks. He hates the color of his skin. He doesn't want to be around anymore, or to tell me that he doesn't even want to be alive. Like, just for a parent to hear that, it's horrible. And I want better for my kid.
Here, and you're right about the right, the left, not here to protect these children.
Yeah. I'm hoping that a politician in that jurisdiction will get this segment. And please, if you know of the elected leadership in that jurisdiction, send this to them, because there may be a champion amongst you. All right?
Thanks for watching. Remember to be limitless, fearless, and relentless. Be bold. All tyrannies rule through fraud and force, but once the fraud is exposed, they must rely exclusively on force. Think about it. Where are you going? Don't forget to hit that like, follow, and share. See you soon.